Hey everybody, I had to do part 2 of my rant and rave about parenting from a mother's perspective and everything. And sidebar, I want to make this clear. As strange as this may sound, I'm not trying to be like I'm not trying to make this personal. Does that make any sense? I'm not, you know, it's just, have I personally been through stuff? I have. And if you go through my videos, I share that stuff, that personal stuff. And, one part of me sometimes thinks to myself, girl, you should probably take this stuff down. And then another part of me is like, I don't think so. I want, first off, for myself, I feel like I deserve to tell my truth, but I also think that it could potentially help someone else because I don't mind being vulnerable in a way that I feel like other people are not as open to. Like I'm the anti of you couldn't waterboard that out of me, like what a lot of people say. I'm like the anti that when I feel like your story needs to be heard, but I do understand that it's a delicate line. Because I don't have a traditional job, then I don't have to worry about coworkers discovering my page and, reporting me to HR and all that stuff the way that a lot of people do. And so I want to use that privilege to, help other women if I can. This channel is at least 13 or more years old. I've never made a cent from this channel. I do hope to make money from this channel. I do hope that it becomes a income for myself that will help me provide for myself and my child. I do hope for those things. That is what I'm building towards. But I'm just being myself. I don't I'm not serving any masters, if you will, and stuff. And yeah, so what you see is what you get. And what I was getting into is that, well, I already got into it, was me saying that a lot of these women who talk about bad things about men, they're full of shit at the end of the day. Not everybody, but it's not that the message is wrong. It's that the messenger is full of shit. That's one. And two is that, by the way, if I didn't mention this, the reason why I'm shooting on this camera is because my last phone ran out of space while I was recording. I'm like, fuck. Anyway, excuse my language. So I may look a little bit different. This is my iPhone 16e. So yeah. I prefer my other iPhone better. I feel like this one highlights every flaw in my face and stuff, like every pimple, like I have a breakout going on right now. Every pimple, everything's highlighted, but you gotta do what you gotta do. But yeah, it is my opinion. Going back to the guy. So if you watched the previous video, I went into about how a lot of these dating coaches are full of, or not dating coaches, but like anti-men women that tell women how men are not shit and don't mess with them, but they go home to men themselves, they lay down and cuddle with their man, and how unfair that is. Kind of like a rich person telling everybody else, hey, money doesn't make you happy, but you see how tough they hold on to their money. Like they're not giving away their riches or anything, but money doesn't make you happy and all that shit, but they're telling you that. And anyway, but where I was when I got cut off was just basically saying that if you are a man who wants to be a father, treat the woman you choose to make children with well. Stop thinking it's cute to mistreat the mother of your children. Whether it's you not contributing to the running of the household properly, like you don't want to clean, you don't want to cook, you don't want to child rear, those are, in my personal opinion, a form of abuse that will in turn not only hurt the mother, but it's going to hurt those kids. Okay, so stop doing that. If you want to cheat, then don't have children. Unless you find a woman who she legitimately is cool with that. A lot of women even say we're cool with it, but we're not, but whatever. Unless you find a situation like that, do not do that. You are hurting your children in turn. You think you're just hurting the woman and you're hurting your kids. Okay? That's, I have so many thoughts. I have stuff that I don't even want to say out loud. And I don't mean personal attacks. I mean just politically incorrect things. But I'm just telling you, do not mistreat the mother of your children if you want to be a good father. That is not being a good father. I don't care how sweet you are to your kids directly. If you make their mother miserable, then in turn you're hurting them. Even if she's the biggest bitch ever, that's not the point. If you harm her, you're harming them. If you do things that will cause your relationship to break up, you are hurting your children as well. And I know where I was when I got cut off. I was talking about like here and there. I'm so sorry. Here and there, it's rare, but here and there, I'll run into people who'll say things like, oh, I wish my parents had broke up. And this is not to make fun of anybody who feels that way. But as I understand it, statistically speaking, unless your father is beating the dog crap out of your mom, if they just like fuss at each other or something like that, you're doing better to have a father in the household than not. There are so many hidden harms of being a single parent, and this is coming from a single mother. And there are so many hidden harms from being a single parent. Okay? I don't unnecessarily wish that on anybody. If you're in a really bad situation, to me, I was in a situation that was bad enough that I feel with no regret, no hesitation that I did what I had to do. Okay, and again, no shade on my baby's dad at this stage because we're past that point. I'm just saying that I feel that I was I tried to reconcile with him after the fact. So this was not an issue of like I wasn't running towards another man. This was not an issue where like I'm just like, oh, I'm just not happy. I went through that already. This was where, from my personal opinion, I was facing a potential health crisis if I stayed in that relationship due to infidelity. And again, it's hard to tell it without telling it. So that's why I'm being as open as I'm being. And again, it's not meant to attack him, because he can't take back, even if he was a new man, which is none of my business at this point, because again, we're past that point. But even if he were 100% a new man, he saw all the error of his ways. Oh my gosh, I really fucked up with this one. I wish I could have her back and all that kind of stuff. Even if he were a new man, he cannot change what's happened. But what's happened is important to acknowledge because it shaped so many things in our lives. So that's why I'm bringing it up. I hope that makes sense. And again, not meant to be an attack on him. There are worse guys than him. Quiet as is kept or whatever, But yeah, I'm just saying though, don't cheat on the woman you're with. Don't mistreat her. Don't check out when it comes to your responsibility as a parent. Another stressful thing is when a woman is in a relationship and she feels like a single mother. Don't do that to her. Don't make her feel like a single mother. If she ever even gives the hint that she's feeling overwhelmed, and that you put your comfort pretty high and you feel like you're doing something because you work all day, which is something you would do anyway, regardless of whether or not you had a family, you would do those things. Unfortunately, you're setting yourself and your family up for disaster. I'm just trying to help, guys. Y'all say that y'all want to be fathers. I'm trying to help. I really am. If you want to be a father, be a father. And that includes being good to the woman you make those kids with. Unless she knows that she's meant to just be an egg incubator and that she's not meant to be a partner that you are raising this child with, then you better be good to her. You know, it that's all I can say. You know, and as far as giving this advice to women, I don't feel like it's as much of an issue with women as it is with men. You know, most of us don't want to be single parents. Say what you want. Most of us do not, self included, do not want to be single parents. So, anyway, that's it. Not much more to say. I'm just ranting and raving right now, but yeah, I said what I said. You know, if you like, you shouldn't have a baby's mother. You shouldn't have it shouldn't be your ex who you have children with. It shouldn't be. I mean, don't get me wrong, I understand sometimes it's going to be that way. But it's so many breakups that are so unnecessary because usually the male did something he shouldn't have done and then wants to scream later, talk about how much he loves his kids. If you don't get the fuck out of my face with that nonsense, respectfully. You know, if you love your kids, then do not create an environment of a bitter baby's mother and of a stressed out woman. You know, I'm tired of hearing women hurt themselves. I'm tired of hearing women hurt themselves and their kids. I'm tired of this shit. But a lot of these women are overwhelmed. And don't get me wrong, I'm going to end it on this note. Ladies, we do have to choose better. But to the men complaining, y'all also need to choose better. Because if she wasn't the one, then you shouldn't have been trying to pump babies into her. But yeah, women, we do have to choose better. I am going to do a video about that as well because I'm tired of us making bad decisions too. I know I'm not remotely perfect. Again, I'm a single mother. I'm a baby's mama. So I'm not looking down on us. I'm saying that I want the next generation of girls to not go through the shit that the current generations are going through. I want to see us genuinely do better. So anyway, that's it. Bye.